And today's masterclass is actually about positioning yourself. And so earlier this week, I was talking with somebody who was asking me, I am struggling to position myself. And so I have all these different workshop ideas that I want to do. And I find it really hard to communicate it to somebody that is not in the industry and somebody that has a complete different role from those in my team. And I started thinking about this. And what I realized is that actually it's not necessarily a positioning problem. More than anything, is going to be something else. It is actually going to be the way that we communicate value. And the reason why it's not a positioning problem is because positioning has to do with the way that you place yourself within the market compared to other players out there, to your competition, or to the other solutions available for the customer to solve the problem. But if you have a series of tools that you know that can help this person, and so in this case, it's not so much about how to position yourself as the solution, it's more about how to communicate the value of the solution that you have developed that you can help the person implement to solve their problem. And that's exactly what we are going to be focusing on today. I'm going to share with you a 4-step framework that is going to allow you to communicate your value so that people clearly understand and see how you can help them solve their problem. It is, in a way, improving the way that you position yourself in their eyes as you position yourself as their only solution. But more importantly here, rather than positioning, it's all about you being the one that has the value and the results that they're looking for. And so that's what I'm going to focus on today's masterclass, the 4-step framework for you to communicate value. And I want to start with something that I think it's the reason why you're struggling so much, for the person to understand why you should be the person to help them, or the tools that you have are the solution for them. And that is that you have been cursed. What does that mean? Well, because you see potential in the tools that you're using and you fell in love with them and you're so excited about them and all this learning process that you have gone through, what's happening is that little by little, you start becoming an expert and you start learning more about these different tools and processes, and you see potential everywhere, all the different ways that you can implement them to solve all these different types of problems and so on. And what is happening is that as you learn more about it, you become an expert. And the reality is that your customer is not trying to become an expert. They're just trying to solve a problem. They don't care about the how. They don't care about how you can solve that problem for them. They just want to see results. They want to eliminate the problem that is holding them back so that they continue moving forward. They're not trying to become an expert. They're not trying to build a business around the area that you are. And so it is natural that you're going to geek out and go deep into learning all the different methodology and all the different concepts and how you can combine them. And that's exciting for you. But for the customer, they don't care. All they want is a problem solved. And I'm super victim of this as I go deeper into storytelling and on different ways that you can bring in concepts. And I've learned the hard way of having it explained to somebody, and then they just look at me as, I don't care about what you're talking about. And so that's actually the first step that we need to think about in our communication framework. When we are putting together our message, we need to take a step back and look at it from the perspective of the customer and think about, why should I care? Why is this important? Because as you communicate everything that you have been working on and all the stuff that you have learned about, trying to showcase your expertise, all the client is thinking about is, so what? Why should I care that you spend the last 6 months learning about this. Why does this matter? And this is quite common. For example, I see it often with startups trying to pitch and present their team. They start talking about, this is Mike and he does marketing. So what? Why is Mike the person to do marketing? And so as you're communicating your message or as you're developing it, take a step back and think about, okay, if I am the listener, I look at this and I think about, so what? Why should I care? Why is this relevant for me? And so the first thing that we need to start doing is stop talking about the how, at least in the beginning. Once the person buys from you, once they have made a decision that you're the person they want to work with, then they're going to start asking you questions about the process. And even then, there's going to be a lot of, yeah, this is what we're going to do. And they're going to have some doubts because maybe they have tried something similar from a different approach and so on. And that even then you need to start then pushing them to trust the process. So only until your customer has gone all the way through and has validated that you can deliver results for them, then they will believe the process. And so the last thing that we need right now is actually start with the process, because they're just going to zone out. They don't care at the moment. So step number one, if you want to communicate value, forget about the process. Just take a step back and think about, why should they care? This is going to force you to start thinking about the results and the desires. And this is actually step two. Try to empathize with your customer. Define who your audience is. Who are you talking with? And think about, what is it that they want? What is it they desire? What are they trying to achieve? What is it that they think they need? And what do they fear? What are they going to fear? What do they fear that is going to happen if they don't succeed, right? And so just to give you a bit of what I said in a more clear list. So for step number two, we're going to empathize with the audience and think about, what is it that they desire? What is it that they fear? And we start by, who's my audience? Who's my customer? What is it that they could be interested in? For example, when I'm hosting the Vienna Pitch training, I know that I'm going to have a lot of different people in the audience, but if I can group them into one thing, then I will understand what is the problem that they have, and then I can address that. I can understand the desire. So think about, if somebody's talking with you, whatever your service is, if they're talking with you and they're trying to see if you're somebody who can help them, then think about what could be that they're looking for. What is it that they're trying to solve? What is their desire that led them to be in front of you? And a big hint here is, they're not trying to make money, okay? Especially if you're selling to other business owners. The goal here from their side is not to make money. You need to go a couple of steps further and think about, what is it that they're trying to achieve? What are they trying to do? Maybe it's to increase their impact. Maybe it's to simplify their production process. Maybe it's to be able to reach more people. Okay, why do they want to reach more people? Well, because they want to grow their business, because they can help more. Normally, money is just going to be a result from everything else that they are aspiring to. They want more money is because they want to feel more fulfilled. They want to increase their status. Money is just a tool. It's a result of the other things that they want. So think about, what is it that they desire? What happens if they don't succeed? What is at stake here? Well, for example, if you're not able to communicate the value of your services effectively, well, not only you're not going to make sales, but your competitors are going to go, or your clients are going to go to your competitors, and then they'll be the ones selling to your customers, and then it'll be really hard for you to capture them back, right? And so that's what's at stake for you if you're not able to improve the way that you communicate value. Then think about, why is this important for them? So this is a bit related. It's maybe phrasing the question from a different perspective to make it easier for you to identify what is it that they're looking for. You need to be able to enter the conversation happening in your customer's mind in order for them to see value in you and in your services. So try to approach this from as many angles as possible, and don't try to reinvent the wheel. as you talk to them, when you hear the questions, when you hear the concerns, take those sentences and then implement them into your pitch. Another thing is that your customers will come to you thinking they know what they need. And so they, just like when you go to a doctor and you tell the doctor, oh, I broke my arm, so this is what I need. And then your doctor still needs to analyze to see if you're really right, if this is really the case, because it could be actually a nerve on your back. You, as the expert, need to do the same thing, where you need to analyze what is really the situation here and then provide perspective. When you're providing perspective rather than just implementing what the client thinks they need, then you're able to actually help them grow. The vast majority of your competitors are not providing perspective. The client comes and says, this is what I want, and then they just deliver on that. But the reality is that deep down, the client knows that you're the expert. And if you're able to show them why this is not the thing that is creating their problem, they're going to buy from you for sure. This is what they're looking for. They're looking to surround themselves with experts that can actually help them improve their business, people who know more about that area so that they can accelerate their growth process. So think about, is the client coming to me? Is this really the thing that they need? The moment you're able to provide perspective, you immediately are going to position yourself in their eyes as an expert. And because you're providing a different perspective on a problem that they have, then they will most certainly will buy from you, unless they cannot afford you. So that's step number 2. How about step number 3? So far, you stop talking about the how in step 1. Step 2, you start empathizing with them and trying to figure out what is it they desire, what is it that they fear, so that you can shape the message and communicate in a way that they find it relevant. For step number 3, what we're going to do is actually, we're going to move away from communicating features and start now talking about the outcome, the results. What is a transformation? So when your customer goes to you, they are in a place right now where they're struggling with this pain. They believe that by solving this problem, they're going to transform into something else. They're going to become somebody else. Just like, okay, I'm struggling with my weight. I don't like the way I look. I go to the gym because I envision that by joining the gym, then I will become this new change person. When you join the membership, you're struggling with your business, you want to accelerate the process that you grow, you want to connect with other entrepreneurs, you become a member of the Skills of Life community, and then immediately you assume or you believe or you see yourself as a more developed entrepreneur who's growing the business faster, who has now a network. So we're buying these results because we believe we're going to achieve a transformation that is closer to our successful vision of ourselves. And so what we need to do is feed that into our customers so that they see value in working with us. And you do that by stop talking about features. Juan, can you elaborate on this a little bit more? Yes, I can. And I want to use an example from Slack. In 2013, the CEO of Slack sent a memo to everybody in their company. And he noticed that if they were going to succeed, they needed to change the way they talk about their product. And he used an analogy that I'm going to share with you right now. He said, we don't sell saddles here. What does that mean? Is if you were to be a regular company that makes the saddles for horses, for people to ride them, the majority of the time, they're going to talk about how nice the leather is, how nice the stitching is, how unique the design is, and all these different things. When you do that, you're pretty much positioning yourself as one more product in the market and you're competing with everybody else. And so what he wanted to do is, instead of saying we don't sell saddles, what we need to focus on is on selling the lifestyle that the people aspire to have. Then it's a completely different story. So what they needed to sell was the lifestyle of a cowboy, somebody that rides horses, somebody that is in the ranch, and what kind of person they are, and they're tough. And so I used this analogy to talk about the software. And if you look at their website, they're not talking about the features, they're talking about the lifestyle that a company that uses Slack would have. What kind of company would they be if they're using this tool? Because in the end, the customer has this vision that they're trying to achieve, and your product is just a tool that they use to achieve that, to solve that problem and achieve that vision. And so instead of talking about the features of the product, they talk about what kind of company are you going to become when you use our tool. And therefore, they create their own category, and now they're not competing with anybody else, because for me to, as a brand, for me to achieve that vision, I can only achieve it by using the Slack product. Let's use another example here to try to drive the point home. When you talk about features of your product, is the equivalent of this resort saying how nice our floors are, and how nice the water in our pool is, and how nice our sheets are. No, the tourist industry, they know that. They don't talk about these things. They talk about how relaxed you're going to be when you're there, how you're going to connect and create new memories, how you're going to come back a more confident person ready to take over the world. They're talking about the results that you're going to achieve when you go to that place, right? Who you're going to become. And that's exactly what we need to be talking about. How our customers' business is going to be when they improve their UI and their UX, and how X company is going to be so efficient and so innovative because instead of typing all day, they're using voice notes and voice to communicate with one another to stay on top of things, so that maybe just speed up the process, right? So Ferrari knows that. They're not talking about how efficient their engine is. What they do is they show you that experience that it is to drive a Ferrari, and then who do you become when you own one? How you're part of this prestigious club, and you have access to these opportunities, and you connect with these type of people, and you live in this particular house. They know that they're selling an outcome, an experience, and an aspirational product. And so understand who your customer is, think about what is it that they desire, so that then you can appeal to that desire and position your product as the thing that can help them achieve that. That way, they're going to see value in it. Good. So let's move on to step number 4. And if you have any questions, go ahead and start typing them so that we can go through them at the end. But let's continue to step number 4. And that is stop adding things. Okay. Not everything is important to them. And what do I mean by this is when you're an expert about your topic, what's going to happen is that everything is going to feel important. You understand how all these things come together. And so when you try to present it to somebody, you're like, oh my God, this thing is important here. And this is super relevant. And they need to know about these things so that they see how they can improve. And all. Your customer is not trying to be an expert in what you do. They're just trying to solve a problem. And so the mistake that we make as experts and who know our area is that we feel that all these things are important. And so we keep adding things to the process. And then what happens is that not only is way beyond the point, you're also delaying the process through which, or the speed at which they get results. Because now you're adding all these things that they need to go through. For me, this is constantly, I'm just looking into what do I need to eliminate that is not relevant here? How can I eliminate all the things what is it that is my ego that I'm showcasing, that I know this stuff and trying to be an expert in what I feel it's important? What is it that they really need to know to achieve their results? Constantly edit yourself and eliminate things, especially as you get feedback, as you practice the way you communicate value. Just try to eliminate all those things, because this is the equivalent of somebody wants to get to the top of the mountain, and because you're an expert hiker, you want to show all these different things, and next thing you know, hiking takes 2 days when it could have taken 30 minutes. Okay, and so think about it. This is for you to geek out, and that's nice. But in the end, the customer just want to get there as fast as possible. Okay, don't think that because you got them there faster, you're providing less value. On the contrary, if you get them there faster, then you should actually be paid more. And this is only a challenge for you if you charge per the hour, which is why you need to stop charging per the hour, because then you're penalized to not improve your product and you want to take longer. So this is the first thing that you need to eliminate. If you're charging per the hour, then this is going to be challenging for you. But the only way that you can improve and communicate even better value is by getting them there faster. And therefore, then you need to shift from charging per hour to charging per value, the value that they get, or at least charge per project, per package. Good. So let's wrap this up as we're coming to an end. So step number one, stop talking about the how. That's for you. That's very nice. Clients don't care, at least not in the beginning. In the beginning, they just want to see if you can help them achieve the results that they're looking to achieve. Can you help them solve the problem that they have? Step number two, empathize with them. Take a step back. Try to understand if you struggle to know yet who your customer really is, then think about who is the person in front of you. Why did they end up in front of you? If somebody recommended you, why did they recommend you? People tend to have a bigger eye at seeing what our value is than ourselves. And so try to then reflect what is the person in front of you looking for. Ask more questions than what you say. Think about if somebody recommended you, how did they recommend you? Why did they recommend you? Ask them, why did they approach you? Why did they think that you can help them? That's going to give you a lot of input. And then connect your message with their desire and their fear. What is it they're trying to achieve? What's going to happen if they don't succeed at that? Step number three, start talking then about the result, the outcome, who they're going to be after they use your product. Yeah, appeal to that desire by talking to the transformation they're going to go through and who they're going to be after they use your product, that aspirational situation. And step number three, eliminate all the things that don't need to be there. Don't be afraid to solve a problem in 30 seconds. Who do you think is going to recommend you? The person that took 2 weeks to see some result, or the person that hired you and then within 1 week, within, I don't know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, they start seeing results, right? They're gonna have a better experience and therefore more valuable. And for that, I wanna actually take Alex Hormozi's value